There is a word in Japan that carries a heavy, beautiful weight. Mottainai. It is a feeling of deep regret when something precious is wasted. A plea to respect the soul of the things that protect us. Yet, if you walk through the modern streets of Tokyo or visit thrift markets in rural villages, you will find mountains of silk, hand-woven, hand-dyed, masterfully crafted vintage kimono, selling for less than the price of a cup of coffee or simply boxed up and thrown away. To the outside world, the kimono is a sacred symbol of Japanese luxury. So, why are millions of them being discarded? Every time I post a short video showcasing a piece made from an upcycled vintage garment, my comment section fills with the exact same questions. People look at the stunning silk and ask, why on earth people would throw away such a stunning piece, while others who see me cutting into the fabric and wonder, how could you do such a wasteful thing to a sacred heirloom? To be honest, I understand both sides, but to understand the cutting, you have to understand the discarding part. Welcome back to my Kimono Upcycling channel. Today, I want to take you to this behind the curtain of cultural paradox. We aren't just looking at the fabric today. We are exploring the modern reality of Japan and the quiet truth behind the rescue. The truth isn't that Japanese people have stopped loving kimono, but the truth is that the modern life has simply run out of room for them. A traditional silk kimono requires immense care. You cannot throw simply into a modern washing machine. For example, it requires a specialized cleaning process called arai hari. You unstitch all the seams and wash as a flat garment and stitch together back again. Also, Japanese homes have changed a lot. Traditionally, vintage kimono are stored in large, heavy wooden chests called tansu. It's made of paulownia wood. It's to protect vintage kimono from humidity. Modern apartments in Tokyo simply do not have this space. When grandmothers pass away, the younger generations used to inherit these chests filled with hundreds of thousands of worth of silk. But nowadays, there's no space for that. And also, there's no occasion to wear them. To put it into perspective, a fascinating report by Reuters highlights just how tight for space the capital actually is. While the average home in London is around 80 square meters, in Tokyo it drops to just 66, and that's just the average. The reality on the ground is far tighter. Out of Tokyo's households, nearly 1.5 million people live in spaces smaller than 20 square meters, which is roughly the size of a single master bedroom in the West. In fact, tens of thousands of people live in spaces so cramped that their personal square footage mirrors the minimum guidelines set by the UN for refugee camps. When you enter your life, your bed, your kitchen, your workspace is contained within these tiny rooms. Every single centimeter matters. In an environment like that, a massive traditional wooden chest filled with heavy silk kimono isn't just a nostalgic family heirloom. It becomes a physical impossibility. Sadly, the younger generation simply has to make a choice between living space and past memories. And these garments, which took months of human life to weave, become ghosts in cardboard boxes. They are labeled as trash, but as a maker, I don't see their ghost or trash. I see opportunity. I see a space to become a new life. Right. Let me talk in my language from here. はい。実はですね、最近心に残る出来事がありました。というか、今回このような動画を撮るきっかけとなった出来事がありました。ある男性から連絡がありまして、亡くなった妻の着物をもらってくれないかといった問い合わせでした。全部で何十枚かあり、日本の知り合いの方に問い合わせされたようなんですけれども、そちらでもやはり同じような問題ですね。先ほど私がお伝えしたような、置くところがないため、結局リサイクルショップに持っていくことになる。同じイングランド、その方イングランドの方だったんですけれども、イングランドで活動している私のところに問い合わせをしていただきました。どこかリサイクルショップに渡すよりかは、もう私に預けていただくことで、それがきっと、商品としてアップサイクルされて、誰かの元に渡るのであれば、無料でお金はもらわなくて結構だからもらってほしいといった問い合わせをいただきました。でも私はそれをお断りしなきゃいけなかったんですね。本当にちょっと何日か悩んで出した決断だったんですけれども、でも今の私のロンドンのこのアトリエ、お部屋はですね、新しい着物を受け入れるほどの実際の物理的なキャパシティももうない状況になっています。そしてそれはですね、あと加えて、私の心理的なキャパシティにも関係するんですけれども、一つの着物を受け入れて、それをどのような需要があるのか分析をして、デザインをして、ほどいて、洗って、縫製をして、そしてそれを写真を撮って、掲載して、で、さらに売れるためのマーケティングですよね。実は私のそのビジネスに割いている時間のおそらく8割はそのマーケティングですね。作っている時間はおそらく1、2割ほどで、8割がそのマーケティングの時間に費やしています。なので、それを考えたときに、さらに、その今ある記事に加えて数十枚ほどのアディショナルで、受け入れる、またそういったことをしていくっていうエネルギーが私の中で、ないなというのがあって、その奥様と旦那様の思いに応えきれないということがあってお断りしました。 実はこういった話って私のもとには、よくある、よくとは言わないです。2、3ヶ月に1回ぐらいは、連絡が来たりするんですね。これをもらってくれないか、といったもの。なので、珍しい話ではなかったんですけれども、ただちょっと今回に関しては、背景をお話しいただいたといったこともあって、改めて考えさせられたんですよね。なんでしょう。日本で眠っているその数百万枚の着物たち。それって本当にただの布じゃなくて、誰かの人生であって、愛された記憶だったのかなと思ってます。だからこそ今私の手元にある限られた布たちを最大限に活用してあげて、それを欲しいと思ってもらえるような商品を作って世に届ける、その人に届けることがとても意義のあることで、かつこのように発信をして一人でも多くの人にこの素晴らしい生地を知ってもらって、何かその方のクラフトに使ってもらうっていうのはとても意義ある活動なのだなと思いました。In the second part of this video, we are going to upcycle this Uchikake, worn exclusively by brides on their wedding day. The Uchikake is less of a garment and more of a canvas for Japan's most luxurious auspicious hand embroidery. This time, I've decided to transform it into a jacket, which was a real favorite in my previous collection drop. This July, I am planning to exhibit at Hyper Japan, the big Japanese cultural event here in London, and I want to bring plenty of pieces like this with me, so I'm working hard to build up my stock. For the jacket body, I'll be using a leftover vintage denim I sourced in large quantities when preparing for my last drop. As for the kimono itself, we will be using a sleeve section. Actually, every single part of a kimono has its own specific name, which I explained in detail in a separate video. I'll pop the link below, so do have a look if you're curious. The main motif on this piece is cranes, and you can see luxurious gold thread woven beautifully throughout. In Japan, the crane is the most iconic auspicious motif, Kissho Monyo, symbolizing longevity and marital harmony. Because of the way they glide so elegantly high up in the sky, they also carry a meaning of leaping toward a bright future. This makes them the perfect choice for life's grandest stages like a bride's Uchikake or a young woman's Risa for coming of age day. Kimono are built on a flat structure called chokusendachi, straight line cutting, where rectangular bolts of fabric are stitched together in straight lines with almost no cutting at all. And because they are sewn entirely by hand, they are surprisingly simple to unpick. Traditionally in Japan, when a kimono could no longer be worn by an adult, it was never wasted. It was remade into other household items. First, it would become children's clothing. The fabric would be cut down to tailor smaller kimono or newborn baby robes. Next, the sections that were still in good condition would be used for cushions or small drawstring bags. As the fabric aged and wore out further, it was used for various practical household tools until the very end. For example, diapers, traditional baby sling for carrying infants on the back, or even hataki feather-style dusters. And finally, it would serve as a zokin, a floor rug. Once it was completely tattered and torn, it was used as fertilizer for the fields to return to the earth, or even as fuel for the fire. If you look closely at this piece, the embroidery flows seamlessly across the seams. To achieve displacement once it was all sewn up, it required an extraordinary amount of precision, not just in the design, but in the hand stitching itself as well. If you look inside, you can actually see the original pencil makings left by the maker. This sleeve section was made of 3 distinct layers: the outer silk, the lining, and a layer of cotton inside meant to absorb perspiration. I think I'll save this cotton layer to use as a household rug later. Now we have a beautiful flat panel of vintage silk measuring roughly 220 cm long and 35 cm wide. On my website, alongside the finished products, I also sell these unpicked fabric panels, as well as 100-gram bundles of the scraps left over from my projects. Because kimono and obi are so heavy and large, it can be quite a challenge to use up an entire piece by yourself. These fabric bundles are absolutely perfect if you've never worked with vintage kimono silk before, or if you simply want to experiment with a beautiful variety of traditional patterns. Now we can align our unpicked kimono silk with the denim panels. Because the edges will be folded under, I am making the lines slightly wider than the base. Also, I've decided not to trim or reduce the width of the silk at all. By keeping the panels as large as possible, it means if someone wants to upcycle this piece yet again, in the distant future, it will be much easier to transform into a completely different item. Before pinning everything securely in place, I'll give it a quick press with the iron to crisp up the shape. As the needle begins its steady rhythm through the silk and denim, I'm reminded of a beautiful haiku by Matsuo Basho. 月日は白帯の価格にして行き交う年もまた旅人なり The months and days are wayfarers of 100 generations, and the years that come and go are also travelers. Basho wrote these profound words at the very beginning of his most famous travel diary. He had just sold his house, cast off his worldly possessions, and set out on a long, perilous foot journey across Japan. For Basho, life wasn't about staying still or clinging to a permanent home. He believed that time itself is always moving and that humans, objects, and seasons are all fellow travelers passing through. These threads we pull through the fabric are travelers too. Bringing a wedding day in Japan decades ago to a quiet afternoon here in London. Every pin I place is a moment of patience. In modern fashion, everything is fast, loud, and immediate. But here, we slow down. We listen to the whisper of the fabric. On this channel, I show you the whole journey, how to source vintage kimono online, where to find them if you are traveling to Japan, how we can lovingly upcycle them, how to carefully unpick the threads, how to wash these silks safely at home, and the traditional ways of caring for them. And over on my Patreon, I'm sharing membership content from my studio every single week. To everyone who has already signed up and stepped into my new home, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support means the world to me. Well, while we've been chatting away, the piece is finally complete. Look at how the gold threads catch the light, showing a completely different shimmer with every turn. I've held onto this kimono for 2 whole years, but I've never seen it look quite as radiant as it does right now. To be able to breathe fresh life into it like this makes me incredibly happy. Right, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next project. またね。